Hello everyone, welcome to Danae's art room. I'm Danae and today I'm doing another one in my Color Cube series. This is the Color Cube Volume 1 by Sarah Renae Clark, and today I'm working on Color Cube or Color Palette number 8, which is very earthy, lots of green, and lots of green. So these are, again, colors that I'm not sure I want to paint with, and so I've decided to do a collage. So I've gathered together some materials. I have some browns. These are just scraps that I have laying around in my bin. I've got greens. This is from, I took my car to be serviced. It's the perfect color green. So I've got some greens. I don't have anything that's really apricot. The apricot is just muted off of pink, but I have a lot of pink. So I have a variety of pinks. So we'll see. And then for charcoal, I have some grays and this bit of black. I love this paper. This is a heavy mixed media paper that I've put gesso on, so it's textured and painted to black. It's quite heavy. And yeah, so I think that's what we're going to use today. I was looking on Pinterest for some ideas because I was finding this quite challenging to think of what I wanted to do. And I saw a bunch of collages done with cut out circles. So half the circle is one paper and half the circle is another paper, and there's multiple papers. And yeah, I thought that was a great idea. There are lots of different ones on Pinterest, so I didn't pick some one particular artist's art to try and recreate, but I was inspired by all of the different collage artists who have posted on Pinterest their circle collages. So I thought that's what I'm going to try today. And I'm working in my Fabriano book. This is 110 pounds and it's 9 by 12. This is a book I use specifically for collage. It should actually be oriented the other way, but I've got all these papers everywhere, so you can look at them sideways. Sorry. You can see I really love color. Like, this is my color palette. So you can see how different this very exciting, very colorful, very whimsical, sort of fairy tale bright, and this very earthy. This is very calm. When I look at this, I feel really excited, and when I look at this, I feel really calm. So I'm really curious to see what I create today. Hopefully I come away with something that is really nice and soothing, calm, earthy. Yeah, so let's get started. So I'm going to start by taping off my edges because I'm going to paint my background first. So I want to have a little border. It'll be white when I pull the tape off. It just makes it nice and clean. I'm going to use this gloss gel to seal the edges so that as I paint, it doesn't seep under that tape. This is a really easy and quick way to seal your borders. And I went all the way around the edges, but you saw enough. Now I'm just going to paint in with my Titan Buff here. This is one of my favorite paints. This is a fluid acrylic by Golden. If you don't have Titan Buff, I would recommend, if you do jelly printing, this is a beautiful color to pull prints off with, especially if you have lots of layers or you're picking up maybe your last print of the day and it's just all the grunge that's left. I just find personally that Titan Buff does one of the best jobs of cleaning up the plate ever. And so here I'm now going to take my tape off. I don't even wait for the paint to dry. It's not going to move, and I have perfect little borders, which I love. So it's an extra step. You certainly don't have to do that, but I enjoy having those perfect lines. So here I've just cut out some circle shapes. I'm trying to decide how I want my collage to look. And I decided to do 3 full circles rather than some half circles going off the edge. And here I just am grabbing some papers to get started. I realized as I went through the process that there was probably a better way to get started and to build the collage, but this is the first time I'm doing it. I have my little circle template here. So I was just winging it, and this is what I thought of, and so this is what I did. It's quite thick, that paper, so I've got my industrial scissors here to cut out the shapes. And yeah, I'm just jumping in. So the circles aren't perfect, which is fine. I can trim them up later, but this will give me a good place to get started. And then I cut out some more, and I realized that I did myself a disservice by not cutting out more exact shapes, either full circles or half circles, because I still have to go back, and those ones that are not full circles, I still have to cut down to half circles because I'm trying to do half circles. So anyway, I learned a lot from this process, and I think I would like to do another one and see if I can improve on what I've learned. So I'm just grabbing a variety of colors. I have my little color cube card sitting off to the side to remind me sort of what I'm trying to accomplish. So here, having the full circle that I can cut into half circles worked really well. And then I decided not to measure anything. So here's where I ran into my first problem. I realized I needed half circles. Not measuring everything was a choice, and I think in the end it worked out. But I think it made the process maybe a little more challenging. It could have probably been a bit smoother if I had cut several circles out at the same time. So then I would have a reflection of the half circles on each side to use, and they would have maybe lined up a little smoother, but I don't know, maybe not. I decided to make those center circles face a different way just to be more interesting. So they're all slightly different, which is fun. It's kind of messy. So here, those ones I cut out, I keep having to recut. So it would have saved me a little bit of time if I just cut either full or half circles to begin with, but I do want the circles to fit inside the area that I've painted. So I do have to trim down some of the sizes, but the colors look great. I'm really happy with the color choices that I had on hand. I think they coordinate with the color cube really well. It's maybe not that peaceful garden feeling I was going for, because there are so many colors and so many shapes, and the shapes are different. You know, it creates a little bit more chaos. So maybe not quite so peaceful, but this was really fun. I love that black and green stripe piece throughout this process. I literally try to use every scrap of that I have because I really like that one. That was done, I think it's on deli paper. Some of these papers I've had in my stash for quite a long time, and I don't even remember making them or how long they've been hanging out, which is why it's fun to have a stash of paper, because you just never know when all of a sudden that paper you made 2 years ago is suddenly the exact right paper that you need today. It's fun how that happens. And it does happen. It happens to me quite often. So I fiddled a bit more with it off camera because it was just taking a long time. And this is what I decided was my final product. So I'm very carefully removing all the insides of the circles. I'm going to start by gluing down the outsides, the biggest parts. So some of them you'll see me trim because they're rough cut and I just want a slightly smoother. And that really dark paper is quite thick. It's a mixed media paper, and then I've also gessoed it and put acrylic paint on it, so it's quite thick. So I really could tell that it had a white edge, which is why I just took my Sharpie and blackened it up a bit just to make it a little bit more solid black rather than that little bit of white peeking around. And here I'm just trying to make sure they all fit. They're all lined up right. Again, I didn't measure anything. Certainly that would have been helpful to have some, exact measurements, but I wasn't too concerned. This isn't going to go in a museum. It's, not going to be saved for generations of art enthusiasts. So I didn't mind in the end that it comes out slightly wonky. I've placed that black one down a little bit too far in terms of exact spacing. So it's all right. This is a fun project, and it's meant to be a little bit fun and wonky. I think I've said in other videos that the art that is in my heart must be just chaos, because I really do love things that are just really kind of on the verge of absolute chaos. I like it busy. I like it wonky. I like lots of color, which is why these color cube challenges are really good for me, because it helps me to sort of limit my palette and stay a little more focused. Otherwise, I tend to bring all of my colors into everything, which gets overwhelming even for me. So all the bases are now glued down, and I'm going to start adding the top layers. And usually something like this, I would take a picture of it before I had removed all the little bits when I was happy with the way it looked. And I would have kept that picture, nearby so that I could refer to it as I glued everything down. But I'm using my camera to film, and so I wasn't able to look at my picture. I didn't even take a picture because I was using my camera to film. So, or my phone is, the camera that I have. So anyway, so I do make a little mistake here in these center squares, and I start putting down sort of the wrong ones, but it still works out just fine. This is a gel gloss medium that I'm using to glue everything down. It's quite thick. So this little pink, that should be on the top circle because you see there's already pink on that circle. And certainly 2 pinks on the same circle would have been just fine, but I really did like having the pink at the top. So here is everything glued in. And I lost some footage here because my camera overheats, my phone overheats and stops filming. And I've realized this now, and I'm much more aware of this situation, but at this point I was still learning. So I let that dry completely for a day. Like I said, I fixed everything with the gel, and it's quite creamy and thick, and I wanted it to be really dried before I tried to do any mark making. And I'm just grabbed some various pens that are in colors that I feel match the color palette. And because apparently it's not chaotic enough with all the different shapes and colors and sizes and the directions they're facing, I'm going to add some more marks. This is a gold pen, so I made an executive decision to put in some gold, even though gold was not on the palette. But I like a little bit of shine. I really love metallics. I have a fun time using them. So gold goes in. And some of those, most of those I'm looking at on the side there, those are Posca pens. This one is a glitter pen, so it has a glittery quality to it, which is really fun. And that gold pen is not a Posca pen. I'm not actually sure what brand that is. I've had it for a while. And then I have a Signo Uniball in white over there, I can see, which I've used. So this part is just adding a little extra color, and you don't necessarily see it distinctly when you're far away, but then when you get closer, there's something new and there's something interesting to look at, which is fun. It makes the art enjoyable to look at far away, and then like you discover something new to look at when you get closer to it. So it's a fun way to add some interest. When I made this, I actually wasn't very happy with it. I feel like I made some mistakes, and there were things that I would like to have changed. But after it sat for a few days and it was done, I left I left it out so that it would, continue to dry all the way, all the paint, all the glue, everything. And so I would come in and look at it, and over time it grew on me. So I'm really happy with it in the end. I think I will do another circle one and, apply some of the things I've learned and see if I can improve on what I created. But yeah, I ended up really happy with this. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you grab your scraps, your beautiful papers that you've made and loved, and do something fun with them. A little simple collage, circles or squares, whatever it is that you enjoy, and use that art and share it with your friends, with your family, with yourself. And I'll see you next time. Bye.